Hello and thanks for joining me for some more photography, although on this occasion not landscapes. I'm out on the mean streets of Liverpool with my friends from the Facebook group Let's Create. Now, I have done street photography in the past. In fact, I really quite enjoy it, but I haven't shared it with you since a quick session in London back in 2019. I think that's because, for the most part, I'm out of my comfort zone. So where I'm confident with my landscapes, if I share street photography, it may be that somebody who's way better than me will look at them and say, what is this guy doing putting this rubbish on YouTube? Nevertheless, I did enjoy myself and I do intend to share some images. And once we've got back from the trip out, I'll do a bit of self-critique on a couple of them. But for now, let's have a look at how the day went.
Right up there. Why didn't that work, huh? You mentioned me a lot. If we head down to docks.
Hello and thanks for joining me for some more photography at long last. It's been about 3 months, I think. I've been up in the hills quite a lot doing workshops and that sort of thing, but I haven't had a chance to do any video work. So I got dragged out by the Let's Create Facebook group boys, and we're hanging around in Liverpool for the day to do a bit of street work. So A, unusual for me to make a video, B, even more unusual to do some street work. We'll see how we get on. So Mali has promised us a historical tour, taking in the Beatles, the maritime tradition, all of that sort of thing. So where are we starting?
We're going to walk down to the large pig, cross over till we get to the owl and the pussycat, and then we're going to spend some time stroking the weasel's chin.
That's not going in.
Save all your kisses for me.
So one thing I hadn't counted on was that it's Eurovision week and most of the waterfront is closed off for the theme park thing they've built. But it does mean there's lots of interesting characters here, sort of soaking up the atmosphere. So you never know, there might be a shot or two to be had here. What I'm finding with this street photography is that I'm desperate to keep a shallow depth of field. I'm not interested in all the general clutter in the background. I'm interested in the people. So by shooting with a really shallow depth of field, you miss way more images than you nail. I've probably got half a dozen that I think are technically okay. Whether I'll like them when I process them remains to be seen. We're heading off to the old cathedral now, apparently, via a cheeseburger, I understand, which I'm very happy about. And we'll see what we see there. How's it going? How's your day?
Very good, very good. I'm very excited, as always. How's your day? Is that recording?
No, not at all. I'm just pointing it at you.
I've been assaulting people with my camera.
I mentioned that earlier to my audience. It's absolutely brilliant.
It is lovely.
You couldn't ask for a better day out, having a laugh, taking a few half-decent images.
Really good.
It's working well.
Really good.
Oh.
We need to go and get David one of his speciality cheeseburgers from Itchy. Is it called Itchy Merchant? Oh God, Itchy Nana. I don't know. You know what it's called, don't you? Itchy Mehmet. Mehmet.
I don't know.
Mehmet.
No good asking me.
That's it. Well, we're going to find it anyway.
All right. So now we're in some hellhole or other, and right now I'd much rather be up a f***ing mountain.
He doesn't mean that.
Yes, he does. He definitely means it. Actually, I was really enjoying it down the waterfront. We kind of wandered into the city centre, and it's full of young people, and I don't relate well to young people. Well, now, despite my grumpiness towards the end there, I really did enjoy the day out, and I must thank my friends Mally, James and Mikey for their excellent company. I've quite enjoyed the images that I managed to get that I've shown you so far, but I've got a few more that I just wanted to share some thoughts on. So let's start with this one. Now with this first one, I've got the completely unedited raw file on the left-hand side of the screen and how I finished it up on the right. Now this young chap was having something of a heated exchange with somebody off camera, and he was yanking his hood back to make his point more forcefully. I shot him with my 45mm f1.8, and that brings me on to my first point, that a lot of experts will tell you that you absolutely must stop down at least one stop to get the best from a lens, which strikes me as being completely pointless having a lens that will open as far as f1.8. I wanted to drop the background out of focus. I wanted my depth of field to be as shallow as possible. It was quite deliberate, and I will take any lens to its extremes if I need to for creative purposes. Second point about this, as you can see, is that I've completely bleached out the background, and I've really had to yank the shadows up on the young man himself. But as you can see, to blow another myth about micro four thirds in particular, there's absolutely no noise being pulled out of these shadows. And so I think that does rather serve to demonstrate that it's not absolutely essential to expose as far to the right as you can, and most certainly modern micro four thirds cameras can more than hold their own. This next image is a mural which is on the gable end of a terrace of shops and houses. And a photograph like this, which really is just to record the fabulous artwork, the expertise here is not mine, it's the artist that created this fabulous piece. What I wanted to do, though, was to represent it slightly differently, so I hung around and I waited until an unsuspecting photographer came in to do exactly what I was just doing and feeling remarkably dissatisfied about. I had to move around to the right a little bit because I really wanted to keep Ringo's eyes in the shot. I didn't want him to be entirely obscured, but I couldn't move any further to get this other eye in as well. But nevertheless, this unsuspecting photographer, I think, did me a huge favour and allowed me to make more of what is already an excellent piece of work. And Mally had absolutely no idea that I was taking this image. Now the last one that I want to share with you, I'm just going to show you the raw file for now, not my finished one. I'll put all the images up at the end as usual for you to have a look at. But this particular image is a very well-known piece of work, and of course it attracts the tourists from far and wide, and it's always the young lady that stands there, never the bloke. Nevertheless, in this instance, there absolutely would be no point me pointing my camera at it if it weren't for the colour palette in this image. Imagine if the car wasn't this particular shade of blue. I mean, certainly if it was any other colour, definitely wouldn't have bothered unless it was a really good contrast. But that particular tone of blue fits so well with the colour of her jumper, with the colour of the chap's jeans, and of course the artwork itself. And so that's an image that was my favourite from the day by some way, all due to the colour palette. And you'll see when I show you the finished image at the end, I washed out all of the other hues within the image. So I'm going to leave it there for this one. Turns out I quite enjoy this street photography malarkey, and I may well do some more of it, as long as people don't write in and say, "Oi mate, you're rubbish at this, stick to the mountains." Anyway, going to leave it there. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, why not subscribe and join me next time. Cheers.